Welcome to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover on the lunch break, powered by JM&E. I am, of course, KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. You're watching the show here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Musk, Fire TV, and of course on Roku via the BS3 network. If you have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. If not, you can go to the website bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. Thank you, as always, to AJ Jones for trusting me to give you this fast-paced 55 minutes, roughly, talk some hoops, some other sports with you on the lunch break. Throwback Thursday edition, but it is the Houston Roundball Review Takeover. Going to talk some Cougs, men's basketball. What other basketball is there at Houston? Rice Owls women's basketball. Some CFP, college football playoff. And hey, the Madness of March has begun. So talk all about that here. But a few things to get first. The Rice Owls women's basketball team. And we'll square off tomorrow, Friday. Rice is 14 seed. Boy, facing 3 seed LSU in Baton Rouge, 3 o'clock on ESPN. One of the cool things about the Madness of March is to see the reactions of the players, the coaches who see their name when their name is called on the big screen that they have made the tournament. Rice women's team had that opportunity to experience that on Sunday, and it was just great to see. The players were just ecstatic about it, seeing their name called on the screen. They are the AAC Conference champions. They're going to play LSU in Baton Rouge, 3 o'clock on Friday on ESPN. But that's part of it. To see the schools like Grambling men's basketball had not made the NCAA tournament ever. They won the SWAC championship, defeated Third Ward's TSU, Texas Southern. And then Grambling won a first-round game. Head coach Dante Jackson, that's what it's all about. The first part, the jubilation of making the tournament, of being part of it. That's the fun of it, the fun of the Madness of March on men's and women's basketball. Unfortunately, greed is creeping in and is going to begin diminishing the fun, the jubilation of the Madness of March, and turn it into what we've always known it has been for a while. More and more business. It's all about business, all about making those dollars. You got the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. Well, I think we should have more. We should cut down the number of bids from the lower majors and those auto bids and give them to the power conferences. And Brett Yormark, well, yeah, I think we should expand the tournament to maybe 76, 80 teams because of the value that the teams from the power conferences bring to the tournament. How many fans want to see a middling Big 12 team make tournament? A team at 500. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them play in the tournament. Oh, yeah. What was their record in Big 12? 15-15. Oh, yeah, they should be really good, though. Let's watch them. As opposed to someone who's 28-4 and get their shot in March. That's where things are headed. Just because you can do things doesn't mean you should do things. But that's where we're going. I don't like it. It's part of it. But on a happier note, touched on it. Rice is going to play LSU Friday. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to speak with Rice Owls women's head coach, Lindsay Edmonds. She was kind enough to squeeze me into her now very, very busy schedule. Salute to her husband, who was driving while Coach Edmonds was talking to me during this interview. That's going to play a bit of our conversation. The entire conversation is posted on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. But this segment of it is about her players, Susie Ngulafak, who had a big performance in Rice's 4 wins in the AAC championship, as well as the growth of Malia Fisher, who had another big role in Rice's winning 4 games of 4 days in the AAC championship. So this is from last Friday. Rice Owls head coach Lindsay Edmonds talking to me, and you'll see is part of the Houston Roundball Review conversations. That is part of the content I provide here on YouTube at the Houston Roundball Review. Check it out. Thoughts on the job that Susie has done the last few games, weeks, and what do you expect from her going forward?
Yeah, Susie's been tremendous. She started the last regular season game for us, and then but really just hit her stride in the tournament. She was everything that we needed. She was a force inside. She was so efficient with her numbers and her scoring. But what I'm really impressed by is her ability to rebound and rebound outside of her area. Her ability to defend. Teams thought that they could just like ISO her and they could go at her and play one on one. And then that was an advantage for them. And Susie proved that it wasn't. She moved her feet, she slid, she made big walls. People had to score over, they couldn't. That she gave up some points, but everyone does. So I was just really impressed with her mindset on both ends of the floor. She logged a lot of minutes for someone that's went through the injuries that she's went through this year. So really proud of her. But she was just a force, and we knew when we needed a bucket, we could throw the ball inside, and Sue would go and get us one.
And Malia Fisher as well. I don't want to. Everybody, DJ contributed, Malia contributed, everybody contributed, obviously, because you won 4 games in 4 days. But just your thoughts on Malia and the job she did. She battled foul trouble and still came through.
She did. I put out a tweet when Malia got back in the fourth quarter and she nailed the 3 right away. I was like, oh yeah, it's over. Like, we're winning this game. But she did. She had a different look about herself too. She was a force. She was facing up and attacking people and scoring off of that. She was also posting people up and backing people down and scoring on the block. She was hitting threes. She was hitting free throws. She was getting steals. She was getting blocks. I mean, her steal after missing 2 free throws in the Temple game on the inbound play, that was everything. I mean, and it was like she had this get back mentality. Like, she could have hung her head about missing those free throws, but she was like, I'm getting this ball back. And sure enough, she did. And it was exactly what we needed. So she was huge in all 4 days, everything that we needed.
And this is not a negative or criticism of her, but in her earlier days at Rice, I think she would have hung her head after missing those 2 free throws. And now she's grown into being this, as you said, she just next play mentality.
Yeah, for sure. She's grown tremendously, not only on the court, but off the court. The mental aspect of the game has grown so much. I walked into our meeting space right before we were leaving for the championship game because they were doing a send-off with the band and the cheerleaders. Malia was sitting on the floor on her phone looking at Just Play, which is our app that we use for our scouting, and we put plays and videos and cheat sheets and all the things. And she was sitting on the floor. Everybody else was standing up. She was sitting on the floor, locked in to looking at that video and asking questions. And she's going to do whatever it took and find any little edge that she could that was going to help us win that game. So I was really impressed by that. A year or 2 ago, Malia's not doing that. And that's the growth that has happened for her. And I love seeing it.
Once again, that was from Friday, my conversation with Rice Owls head coach, women's head coach, Lindsay Edmonds, as she was driving. Well, she was in the passenger seat while her husband was driving to the next destination. So she took time to talk to me about Rice, her team. So that was before Rice found out they were playing LSU and where they landed in the tournament. Rice is the 14th seed, will face 3 seed LSU Friday on LSU's home floor in the PMAC, 3 o'clock on ESPN. That's part of the top 16 seeds. Women's side get to host their first 2 rounds on campus as a way to increase boost attendance and improve the student asset experience. Oh, darn it. I said it again. I didn't say student athlete. The student asset experience. I did it again. Shucks. Doggone it. But to have more fans there in attendance of the first 2 rounds of the women's tournament. And then the next 2 rounds, the regional finals, are in Albany and Portland. So yes, 8 teams in Portland, 8 teams in Albany. So it's not neutral site in that sense of 4 different spots with 4 teams in each spot. It's 8 in 2 spots. Donna Holman, thank you for chiming in as well on AJ's channel on YouTube. Rec32, thank you for chiming in on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. Part of that matchup, part of the comment, Rice facing LSU, Susie and Malia. Susie will probably have to guard Angel Reese, and Malia Fisher might have to guard Anissa Morrow, or they'll switch off. That's going to be a key how Rice's duo handles LSU's duo. Obviously, LSU has more star power and playing in front of home court fans and probably deeper. Rice is dealing with some injuries. One of their front court players out with Haley's wearing a boot. Dominic Ennis, one of their guards, has knee injuries. He's both of them are out for the season. But they're going to do with what they have. Do the best they have with the players that are healthy and give it their best shot Friday afternoon against LSU at 3 o'clock on ESPN. Men's side, locally, UH men's basketball. Number 1 seed in the South. Going to face Longwood, 16 seed in Memphis, Friday, 8 p.m. Central on TNT. Cougs are the regular season champs. That did not change after getting just destroyed by Iowa State on Saturday in the Big 12 title game. Losing 69-41 didn't change that. Did not change the Cougs being 1 seed. All those things that some folks are crying about. Oh, we're not going to be whatever. It was locked in, baked in for a few days. But the Cougs facing the Longwood Lancers. The Longwood Lancers, who I know very little about, but they do have 3 young men from the Houston area, and they're coached by Griff Aldrich, who coached AAU ball in Houston. Small world. But during Coach Sampson's Zoom call earlier this week, I do what I am known for doing here. Coach Sampson has recognized it. It's part of who I am. I asked him about Longwood. I always ask during the Zoom call about the opponents. My colleagues ask about the Cougs. Get Kelvin's thoughts about the Cougs players and all that kind of stuff. But I ask about the opponent, the opposition, which is kind of important because UH Athletics, when they posted on YouTube, they described the video as previewing versus Team X. So if I don't ask a question about Team X, it's not really a preview about that opponent because no one else asked about the opponent that the Cougs are facing. But here we go. Comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson about the Longwood Lancers. Coach, what is Longwood's style of play? I know very little about them. So what is their style of play?
Very well coached. They're old and they're veteran. What Griff has done there is, I think, special. They're very well put together. They've got an outstanding point guard in the Napper kid. They've got another kid that can play point guard, but a good shooter, left-handed kid in the Houston kid. Granlund kid fits because he can make threes and he has great size on the wing. But I think the Christmas kid's a tough matchup because they play him at the 4 and he can make threes, so you're going to have to get out to him. Then there are 5 spots by committee. They have 2 starters. The Tucker kid is a starter, but a lot of nights the Zapala kid is the guy they play through, and he's 7 foot. And then off the bench, Massey, who is a keg of dynamite. You just never know what he's going to do, but he's a problem because he can go get his own shot. He's very aggressive and looking for a shot. He's got great size. We actually coached against him or played against him last year. He was with McNeese State. And then the kid that's going to be the player for them going forward, though, is this Richards kid. He's a freshman. He's the only freshman they play. But he's a very talented kid. But they're well put together. They're old. They're veteran. They're well coached. We've been watching film on them, and they're hard to play against because they're really good at controlling the pace of the game. They're going to run their sets. They're going to run their stuff. They execute. And then the other thing is offensive rebounding. They're a high level offensive rebounding. People talk about us being an offensive rebounding team. Well, we used to be, but not anymore. All our best offensive rebounders are hurt. So you don't replace that. But Longwood has all their guys. So they're really good at it. So a lot of ways to beat you. They can make a three. They can get to the free throw line. They can get second and third shots. They got good size. But their most valuable player for sure is their point guard, Napper. He controls the game for them.
Coach Sampson talking about the Longwood Lancers, who the Cougs face Friday evening, 8:20 Central Time on TNT, the 1 versus 16 matchup. Lost myself. Cool. Live on stream radio, streaming TV. You know how it happens. Rex, Juan's going to play. He's going to play. He's going to play. He was going to be limited because of the swelling in his knee already. But so it won't change his limitation. The shin contusion, it's getting better. He'll be fine. And he'll be fine. He'll give you what he has. He is not 100%, but honestly, I don't think any of the Cougs are 100% right now at this point of the season. And very few teams are 100% at this point of the season. But Juwan's going to give what he has. It's a game the Cougs should win, but I want to point out a couple of things. Longwood, coach talked about Waylon Napper, 6'1", 185. Jesper Granlund, 6'6", 210. Michael Christmas, 6'6", 225. There's two seniors and a graduate senior, so three veterans right there. Jonathan Massey, 6'6", 188, junior. The freshman coach referenced. Emmanuel Richards is 6'4", 220. 6'4", 220 as a freshman. Wow. Elijah Tucker, 6'8", 220. I think that's right. He's a redshirt sophomore. And then their center, SZYMON, Zyman Zapala, 7-footer, 240, is a junior. So veteran-laden squad. They have experience. They also out-rebound their opponents by 9. 9.2. You heard Coach Sampson talk about they do a great job on the offensive boards. The Cougs used to do that when they were healthy, when they had a full roster. Talking about Terrence Arsenault, Ramon Walker, and JoJo Tugler. All three of those guys are injured. Two of them are done for the season. One of them, knock on wood, pray to whoever you pray to, Ramon Walker Jr., might at some point play in this postseason. Coach Sampson touched on it, hinted at it Sunday. We talked to the media after the Cougs opponent was announced that Ramon was getting better. He was around the corner for a return. Coach said he wasn't sure if that corner around the corner was down the street or down the block. Ramon told me he put a percentage on it about where he is. He's getting closer. Ramon told me it's a question of how his knee responds after workouts, after practice sessions, if anything flares up. If it doesn't, that it increases chances of playing in this postseason. If Ramon can play, it's another body, another active body, another rebounder, another guy who does the dirty work for Houston. So if he can, it would be very helpful to the Cougs' chances of advancing far in this postseason. If he can, he can. He wants to give it a go. Ramon wants to give it a go. If John Houston, the trainer, says Ramon's good to go, coach, then they're going to give it a shot. I don't know if that's going to be tomorrow. If Houston wins, which they should do, 1 versus 16, they should be Longwood. I don't care if it's by 1 point. I don't care if it's by 11 points, 10 points, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Survive and advance. I don't care about what the spread is. I don't care if they don't cover the spread. Don't care. Survive and advance. That's all Coug fans who don't gamble should care about. Is it the Cougs win? Not about how much did they win. That's all that matters. Who are those two people? Is one of those Drake? Is one of those Drake? Let me see. Yeah. Let me know. Is one of those Drake? Aubrey Graham? Is he one of those two people rooting for the Cougs? I'm not picking the Cougs to go win the championship. I'm not. I think they are just too banged up at the same position. I hope to be wrong. I want to be wrong, but I just don't. Oh, goodness. You could have kept the second name to yourself, Rex, and just done Drake. That'd have been enough for me right there. But that other dude, who I have no respect for at all whatsoever, but that's kind of bad. Well, if there's a team that can overcome those two curses, maybe it's this year's Houston Cougars men's basketball team. We shall see. Cross your fingers and your toes on that, and we'll go forward on that. Man, oh man. Oh wow. All right. Gonna try this again. There we go. Earlier this week, on Monday, Coach Sampson received the Henry Iba National Coach of the Year Award from the USBWA, which I am a member, a proud member, the United States Basketball Writers Association. He was named the recipient of the 2023-24 Henry Iba Award presented to the National Coach of the Year. Sampson received the award for the second time during his career after first earning it after the 1994-95 season in his first year at Oklahoma. Let me stop right there. That's 29 years. That is now the longest span of years for a winner of the National Coach of the Year Award. Previous, I think it was Roy Williams at Carolina and Kansas, and it was like a 16-year span. Coach Kelvin Sampson, 29-year span from winning his first winning of the USBWA National Coach of the Year Award to winning it again this year. 29 years. How about that? Quote from Coach Sampson: "This award has special meaning for me because of the impact of Coach Iba in the state of Oklahoma. Playing Oklahoma State in the gym with his name on it, I know the impact he had on the history of basketball in this country. This is a great honor, and I accept it on behalf of our staff, our players, who poured their hearts and souls into this season and our entire program." Coach Sampson also became the second Houston coach to collect the honor after Hall of Fame coach Guy V. Lewis following the 1967-68 season. USBWA has been around a long time. Since I want to say 57, 58, something like that. Longer than I have been on this earth, but I have been a member of the USBWA, 15, 20 years, something like that. And proud of it. I can vote on the national awards, and men's and women's basketball. Full disclosure, I did not vote for Coach Sampson as my top choice for the National Coach of the Year. My top choice was South Florida's Amir Abdul-Rahim for the tremendous job he did resurrecting that dormant program to winning the AAC regular season championship. He was my top vote. I knew he wasn't going to win, but I still voted for Coach Abdul-Rahim at South Florida. The honor just kept rolling in for the Cougs this week. Here's a list of the repeat winners from Coach Wooden, Tony Bennett at Virginia. Boy, folks talking about him now. Fred Taylor, Bob Knight, Ray Meyer, Luke Hornacek, Gene Cady, John Chaney, and of course, Roy Williams, aforementioned 1990 to 2006. Coach Sampson, Jamal Shedd, and LJ Cryer on the NABC All-District team. That's the National Association of Basketball Coaches. Jamal Shedd and LJ Cryer and head coach Kelvin Sampson continue to collect postseason awards with honors from the NABC. On Tuesday, Coach Sampson was named the District 8 Coach of the Year. For the 8th time, Jamal Shedd was named to the District First team, while LJ was earned a spot on the second team. On Tuesday, Jamal Shedd added to his trophy case when he was recognized as an All-American on the first team by the Associated Press. Jamal is the 27th student athlete, student athlete to earn All-American honors in program history. He also became the third Coug in the last 4 years. Talk about that. The third Coug in the last 4 years to be an All-American, joining Currently, now, Detroit Piston guards Marcus Sasser and Quentin Grimes. One more time. Current Detroit Piston guards Marcus Sasser and Quentin Grimes. Detroit basketball. Yeah, I know we suck right now, but it'll turn around eventually. Get back to winning ways eventually. This was only the latest All-American honors for Shed this season. He recently was named to the Field of 68 and the Sporting News All-America First Teams. This marked the third time in school history in which a Coug received AP All-America First Team honors in consecutive seasons, and just the second time with two different student assets. Did it again. Darn it. Student athletes, student assets. Guard Marcus Sasser was an AP First Team All-American in 2022-23. And of course, the Big E, Hall of Fame forward Elvin Hayes collected back-to-back All-America First Team honors way back when, from 1968 to 1966 to 1968. More. Yesterday, Wednesday, Jamal Shed and LJ Cryer got more honors. Shed was named to the All-America First Team by the NABC and the USBWA. Cryer received the first All-American honor of his career as honorable mention by the USBWA. This was the first time Houston had two All-American honorees in the same season since center Greg Cadillac Anderson and guard Alvin Franklin were named honorable mention by the AP in 1985-86. That's a long time ago. I was 13, 14 years old way back when. I didn't do a bracket, CA37. Haven't done a bracket. Didn't look at it at all. Asked me to pick who I think is going to win it all, UConn. They're the most balanced team, inside, outside game. They're playing well. Tristan Newton in backcourt. They're just playing well. They're playing the best team. They could have a great chance to being the first repeat champs in Florida. That's if I did do a bracket, which I didn't, but UConn would be my team to beat. If Ramon Walker can play, his return could help the Cougs advance farther in the tournament. I'd love to see a Coug UConn matchup in the championship game. I'd love to see that. I thought about this, Rex. It's funny. It's funny you said that. When I was putting the slide together, I was like, man, Jamal might end up being a Piston as well. Hey, it wouldn't hurt because some of the Detroit guards just don't get it. Just don't get it. An excellent point right here. Great accomplishments for the Cougs. Very proud how far Houston has come. Indeed, no doubt about it. Tremendous job. Another example, more examples of the almost miraculous turnaround that head coach Kelvin Sampson and his staff have done in his 10 years at the University of Houston. I'll leave it at that because I'm not going to talk about the other team down the hall in that same building. I'm going to take a break right now because when I come back from this break, I'm going to talk about the Big 12's non-conference schedule or results for this season. I'm curious to hear what you guys who are watching on the platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Musk, on Roku, on Fire TV, what you think about when I post these numbers. You're watching Throwback Thursday, the Houston Roundball Review takeover of Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E on the BS3 network. And in case you do not know, I'm going to ask you to watch these next 90 seconds to get a better idea of what BS3 TV is all about.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover on the lunch break, powered by JM&E and also on the BS3 network. I am, of course, KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. If you have a Roku streaming device, simply download BS3 TV. If you don't, go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. First half of today's show talked about the Cougs men's basketball program. Get ready for the Longwood Lancers. Their 1-16 seed matchup, Friday, March 22nd, 8:20 p.m. Central Time on TNT. And also the Rice Owls women's basketball team. They're going dancing. As a 14 seed, they're going to face 3-seed LSU Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock on ESPN. There was some controversy, scuttlebutt. Saturday started after Iowa State thrashed the Cougs in the Big 12 title game, winning by 28. Some folks, some of my friends, national pundits, said Iowa State should be the second number 1 seed from the Big 12. No, I didn't think so. I didn't think it was going to happen at all. Iowa State, once the bracketing and seeding was announced, was the last of the 4 number 2 seeds. Some folks didn't like that. Here's an indicator of, I think, what the committee was thinking, picking Iowa State as a 4th number 2. Look at this. The big bad Big 12. Iowa State's non-conference strength of schedule, 324. 324 out of roughly 360 Division I teams. 324. 5 games non-conference against teams ranked in the 300s. 4 against teams ranked 227 to 279. Compare that 324 ranking to the other 2 number 1 seeds non-conference strength of schedule. Arizona, 13. Tennessee, 16. And Marquette, 17. Seems like a no-brainer to me. 13, 16, 17, 324. Next. Look at this. The Big 12 men's basketball net non-conference strength of schedule. Kansas is first with non-con SOS of 36. Baylor, 70. West Virginia, 156. The Cougs, 194. Longhorns, 208. K-State, 218. Oklahoma, 274. BYU, 294. Texas Tech, 311. Cincinnati, 322. Iowa State, 324. Oklahoma State, 325. TCU, 328. UCF, 350. Now, Rex, CA37, folks watching me right now on this show, when you see those numbers, what do you think? What is your initial reaction to seeing those rankings of the Big 12 men's basketball teams, their non-conference strength of schedule? I shake my head at it. The rationale behind it, what the conference has said, will continue to say. The Big 12 is such a gauntlet. It's so difficult in conference. We have so many chances to play against other quad 1 teams, quad 1, quad 2 teams in conference. So why should we schedule more tough teams in the non-conference? If you're a new program, a first-year head coach, like Coach McCaslin at Texas Tech, I can accept that. At first year, you want to try to get some wins under your belt. Okay. Iowa State. Coach Otterberger, not his first year at Iowa State. 5 teams ranked in the 300s non-conference. 5. I think TCU had 4 teams, opponents in 300s. Two max. 2 max. That's my, if I put together a schedule, that's schedule 2 of them. But what are your thoughts? Hit me up in the comments. What do you think about how the Big 12 schedules non-conference? This is how it looks. Big 12 net strength of schedule overall. The non-conference is in parentheses. Baylor, number 1 overall strength of schedule. Kansas 2. Cougs 11. K-State 12. West Virginia 13. Iowa State 16. Iowa State, the overall strength of schedule 16, but non-conference SOS 324. Texas 17. Sooners 22. Horned Frogs 26. TCU once again 26 overall strength of schedule, but non-conference SOS 328. Texas Tech 29. Oklahoma State 31. The Bearcats from Cincinnati 38. I got order wrong there. UCF 37 and BYU 40. So the overall strength of schedule for the 14 Big 12 teams ranges from 1 to 40. But the overall non-conference strength of schedule ranges from 36 to 350. Rex says, I think they're trying to get reserves playing time in non-conference. I say, why not play more or tougher opponents non-conference if you're trying to, I mean, if you're not, you're not. Trying to increase interest in men's basketball in November and December. Isn't that one of the reasons for this proposed NIL fall event, this inaugural fall event, which the Cougs have been rumored to be a part of, taking place in Vegas in November, which will take place the week of Thanksgiving, so I've been told. Isn't that what you want to do? I'm not asking you to schedule 9 to 11 murderers row opponents in non-conference because you have enough of that in conference play. But 9 teams, in case of Iowa State, 9 teams ranked 200 and higher in your non-conference? 9? In this coming 24-25 season, Big 12 men's hoops will have 20 conference games. You play 5 opponents twice, and the other 15 teams, 4 opponents twice? 16 teams, 16 teams will be in there. You have 5 opponents twice, and other 10 teams once. So you'll have 20 Big 12 conference games, and most likely at least 16 of those conference games will be quad 1 or quad 2. There's a chance it might be all 20, quad 1, quad 2, maybe. But I'm pretty sure with the boost to 20 conference games in the Big 12 next season, starting in the fall, coaches are going to say, well, why are we going to schedule too tough non-conference when we got 20, when the gauntlet gets tougher? So, yeah, let's continue. Let's do 5. Let's do 6 teams in 300s in non-conference. Is that good for basketball? Is that good for the sport in November and December when you have all these cream puffs on your schedule? Because there are some alums I know, I've heard, seen, who complain, gripe, not like matters of Coach Sampson, about the, in their eyes, lack of tougher opponents in the non-conference. Just your thoughts. I'm curious what you think about that. But once again, Iowa State had a non-conference strength of schedule ranked 324. UCF was worst of the Big 12 teams at 350. Because I look at it as this as well. if you schedule so many weak teams in the non-conference and struggle to finish at 500 in the conference in the Big 12, then why are you banging the drum about you should be making the tournament? Because, hey, we went 500 in the Big 12, the toughest conference in basketball. Yeah, boys, you do non-conference. We were undefeated. Yeah, but everybody you played was in 300s. But we did a great job in conference. We were at 500 in the Big 12. But again, you do not challenge yourself in the non-conference. Oh, there you go with quibbling here and there. Why you do? Oh, yeah, come on now. So I'm curious to see how the Big 12 is going to walk this fine line of 20 conference games and continuing to schedule softer in the non-conference. And it wasn't everybody. Baylor and Kansas did a great job non-conference. Speaking of, Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo was asked Wednesday about the potential expansion of the NCAA tournament, men's tournament, which will ultimately become the women's tournament as well. The question: looking at the tournament right now, there's a lot of discussion about potential expansion and looking at sort of the format. I guess, where do you kind of fall on what you think could change with the tournament? Do you feel like it needs to be expanded at all? What do you see as the future of the tournament going forward? Coach Izzo. This is yesterday, Wednesday, 4 days ago, Saturday night. I was sitting there and I saw some things on the tube. I was hoping they'd expand it to 100. But I do think it's a delicate issue. I really do. I feel for some teams that didn't get in when you have those automatic bids. I'm not sure I understand why. But the conference tournament things, you can go and like Purdue, go 17-3 and dominate the conference and then lose. It's okay if it's the second place team. But I think that makes it hard why some teams will get left out. I don't know if something could be fixed there, but then the conference tournament wouldn't be as it's all about what is best for the financial part of it. If we were to be very blunt and honest with you, more than it is the player and teams. One more time. It's all about what is best for the financial part of it. If we were to be very blunt and honest with you. Here, Tom. He continues, as a guy that's been on a lot of boards and everything, I really haven't sat down and thought about what I'd like to see. But there's getting to be more parity. There's getting to be more unknowns. There's getting to be more upsets. There's getting to be more of these, 20 of the 32 conferences. The regular season champ did not win the conference championship. It just doesn't happen like that. So I think it needs to be taken a serious look at. Thank God I'm not the czar, so I don't have to take criticism for how I feel, and I'll think about it after the tournament. Follow-up question from a colleague. I wanted to follow up on the NCAA tournament. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey has hinted recently pretty strongly about the idea of more opportunities of power league teams, possibly at the expense of the one bid leagues. What do you think about that? And just in general about football's potential impact on this tournament? Coach Izzo said, I'm a Division II guy, so I'm always looking out for the little guys. I'm not very big myself, so I always have an appreciation, and maybe that would be a reason to expand for the little guys, he's saying. I just think what's happening now, everybody likes the upsets in the first weekend, but I'm not sure moving on, that's what's best for the game. I think it's got to be looked at seriously. As far as football's impact, it's different. They're working with like 115 or 120 teams, and they never have those kind of issues. What is that going to do if they branch off in all this? Something's got to be fixed because some things are broken. I'm not going to get into all of my beliefs on all that right now, but there's a great, great game here, and I don't want it to be damaged. I do worry about it. I'm on every committee I could be on to help solve that, and I would love to talk to him and our commissioner, talking about Greg Sankey and Big Ten Commissioner Petit. I know they've been talking a lot. I just don't know what the answers are. My day job is taking up all my time. But in the off season, I'd sure like to really get in a room with people where there's coaches in the room and administrators instead of the way it's been, whereas like where there's like one coach and 30 administrators. That makes it really difficult. Thoughts on that? Coach Izzo said he'd like to see expansion of the tournament, but for the little guys, not for the power teams from the power leagues. Greg Sankey, SEC, disagrees. Peter Yormark, Big 12, disagrees. He wants more teams from the power conferences to get into the tournament, get more of those units. How much of this expansion, if it happens, well, when it happens, will reduce the payouts in the units, financial units for the men's basketball teams? Where is this money going to come from? Time will tell. It's going to happen. Might expand to 4 teams, 8. I don't see it going to, I really don't see it going to 12, getting to 80 teams. I hope not, but these closing moments, shifting gears, talking football. And one big part of how this is going to impact the Cougs football program and others like them. Tuesday, the College Football Playoff and ESPN agreed to a new 6-year, $7.8 billion contract that ensures the network will remain the sole media rights holder of the event through 2031 and 32 season. The financial distribution for the expected 14-team playoff will look radically different. On an annual basis, for example, Big Ten and SEC schools will each be making more than $21 million, a drastic increase from the nearly $5.5 million that schools in the Power 5 conferences are currently being paid. In the ACC, the schools will get more than $13 million annually, and Big 12 schools will get more than $12 million annually. Notre Dame expected to get $12 million as well, etc. Next, there you see it right there. The difference in distribution between the two sets of conferences, SEC Big 10 and ACC Big 12, could exceed $300 million. The Power 2 stand to earn a combined figure that should eclipse $700 million, far more than the ACC and Big 12 numbers of around $400 million. Roughly $115 million is slotted for the group of 5. There will no longer be a CFP participation bonus for any of the other leagues, a detail that was frustrating to some leaders in the group of 5. The group of 5 schools' annual payments will increase to just under $1.8 million from the current $1.5 million. The CFP revenue distribution model was largely based on historic success in the playoff over the previous decade. Considering future realignment moves, the SEC and Big Ten account for 72.5% of CFP participants. The SEC leads all conferences with 17 in the 4-team field when factoring in Oklahoma and Texas. The Big Ten is next at 12, when factoring in its 4 new schools. The ACC, 7 teams, and Big 12, 2 follow. And that would be TCU and Cincinnati. The contract was expected to include a definitive look-in provision in 2028 where revenue distribution and format can be re-evaluated. The look-in provision can be triggered earlier by any conference realignment. Any conference realignment. As Rex says here, glad we got out of G5, but man, that money split is crazy. But any conference realignment, for example, I mean, perhaps like Florida State and Clemson suing the Atlantic Coast Conference, resulting in an inevitable split of that conference. It's going to happen. I'm not sure where FSU and Clemson are going to go because they kind of duplicate what is currently in the Big Ten and SEC regarding current members. Florida's in the SEC. Why do they want FSU in there? Why would South Carolina want Clemson to join them in the SEC? But something's got to give. What will happen with FSU and Clemson and these multiple lawsuits? I don't know. Grant of rights for a lot of years was perceived to be ironclad. FSU and Clemson lawyers have said lately, not so fast. But where are they going to go? And if North Carolina's going to get involved, they'd go to the Big Ten because that's a different market for the Big Ten. Florida State, yeah. It's going to happen. It's a question of how it's going to happen. But when it all happens, oh, yes, this is true. But the Aggies didn't matter. But the Aggies were not happy with the Longhorns joining the SEC. The Aggies did what they could to gripe, bitch, fight it. They were overruled. And the Aggies realized they don't have as much power as they thought they did. But this is all going to happen. And at some point down the line, the big boys, the bigger brands are going to say, why do we have Vanderbilt in this conference? Why do we have Rutgers? Why do we need Indiana? What do they bring our football conference? Nothing. So ultimately, it's going to be like a 20-team mashup. It's not a conference. You got 20 teams. It's not a conference. It's a mashup, especially in football. You play 9 conference games each year, eventually. So that means you have 10 teams you will not play every year in your conference. Is that a conference? A 20-team matchup, no divisions. You play 9 conference games, 10 teams you don't play. But hey, we're all under the Big Ten umbrella. We're all splitting that big pie. The fans have fallen for this line of BS we spewed at them for years and years and years. They keep spending their money because they got to have that football fix. They can't live without football, and they can't see what's happening right in front of their faces. If they don't care what's happening right in front of their faces, football makes America go around. Pro and semi-pro. That's what college football is, not college. Amateur athletics, my ass. But how will this impact schools like Houston going forward? When, as Mac Rhodes, Baylor AD, said yesterday, Tuesday, on 365 Sports, revenue sharing is coming to college football. It's coming to college sports. It's coming to college Division I sports. It's coming. There will be schools, a lot of schools, that cannot afford revenue sharing with their athletes, with the assets. It's coming. So when those schools are faced with the decision of revenue sharing, we can't participate in it. We can't do this. It is not feasible financially. What are they going to do? And it's all because of football. It's football. I wish football would just separate itself and y'all go deal with that crap. Football has taken over conversation this week of March Madness, of basketball. This used to be the best time of year for basketball, for college basketball, this week. Spending too much time talking about Greg Sankey and those greedy people. And again, I said it at the start of this show. I'll say it again to close it up. Big Ten, SEC powerhouses, know that. There's a straw that stirs drink, know that. But just because you can do something does not mean you should do it. And I'm done. Salute to everyone. Thank you, Tran, Rex, CA37, Donna. Thank you as always. We're going to do our Let's Rage Cougs postgame show Friday night. It's going to be a late one, late night. We're going to discuss and recap the Cougs Longwood game. Game starts at 8:20 right now. 8:20 based on how the ending of the first game before that goes. A&M Nebraska. But if it starts at 8:20, 2 hours for the game, we're looking at start for Let's Rage Cougs around quarter to 11 o'clock. But join us here on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube as we recap the Cougs game against Longwood, the 1-seed Cougs against the 16-seed Longwood Lancers. I am KG Chris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Everyone, thank you for your comments. Thank you for taking time out of your lunch break to join me here on the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, powered by JM&E. Always support the Roundball Review. Get some merch like this mug, a shirt, a cap, a hat. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, clicking on those shop buttons and buy something, support the Roundball Review, spread the word, advertise on these shows. And remember, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. Take care. Peace.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, March 21st, 2024. Number 1. In a court filing this week, New York Attorney General Letitia James stated that Donald Trump's request to appeal his civil fraud case should be rejected. In addition, the state's top lawyer said that if the former president cannot pay the $464 million judgment he owes by Monday, March 25th deadline, the court should hold his properties to use as payment. Last month, Trump was ordered by Judge Arthur Engoron to pay $355 million plus interest for the ill-gotten gains in a civil fraud case brought by the Attorney General James. Number 2, in a significant development reflecting broader challenges within the discount retail sector, Family Dollar and Dollar Tree have announced the closure of nearly 1,000 stores nationwide. Years of mismanagement, poor store conditions, and increased competition have plagued Family Dollar, which caters primarily to low-income customers in urban settings. The decision aims to improve profitability, but is likely to exacerbate existing shopping disparities, especially in areas with limited access to supermarkets and other retail options. Number 3, in our Life's Essential 8 series, today we discuss how to manage blood pressure. A diagnosis of high blood pressure must be confirmed by a medical professional. Healthcare professionals can take blood pressure readings and provide recommendations. Eating a healthy diet of fruits, vegetables, and lean animal proteins, getting exercise, and sleeping well are a few tips the American Heart Association recommends to monitor blood pressure. Read more about it in today's newsletter. Number 4, troubling new data reveals that in the U.S., Black adult women are 6 times more likely to be killed than their white counterparts. A paper published in the Lancet Medical Journal analyzed homicide rates of Black women ages 25 to 44 across 30 states. Homicides were classified in this study as death by shooting, piercing, cutting, and other forms of violence. Number 5. It's Aries season, and Ms. Astrology joins us and shares that since Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, thus begins a new cycle. A cycle that takes with it The Lessons of Cycles Past. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Just a reminder, regular exercise and a balanced diet are key components of good health. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with Ms. Astrology. It's Aries season, you know, and our mental health and wellness contributor, Aprilette Russell, as we discuss today's top headlines and more. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.